Walk with me on the Devil's Left Way path, where we will take several turns along the way. This path is multifaceted, dark, light, and everything falling betwixt. Crooked our steps will be, for the journey is never straight nor narrow. Greetings and salutations. I am Kindra RavenMoon. Welcome to the Thorn Rose Witch podcast. Here is where we discuss a bit about everything that falls under the umbrella of dark spirituality, witchcraft, Satanism, devil worship, and all things related above, below, and beyond. So, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well and are able to fully embrace the weekend. As promised, today's topic continues with Lilith, but this time around, more practical information stemming from my experience and perspective as a seasoned practitioner rather than from a scholarly lens. As mentioned in last week's episode, initially, Lilith was not a goddess. However, as mentioned in my episode on demons, some ancient deities were rewritten as demons by Abrahamic scribes. In the case of Lilith, bringing her into the modern day, the reverse has happened. A demoness turned into a goddess through the lens of the romanticized, contemporary, occult, and also feminist movements, and by those reclaiming the sacred feminine. Some theistic Satanists address Lilith as Aim or Lilith. Or Aim stemming from Japanese Shinto mythology, meaning divine. And some address her as Amma or Aman, stemming from Hinduism, meaning mother. Now I understand why some who approach Lilith as a goddess or divine feminine force would address her as Aim Lilith or Ami Lilith. But I'm calling out those who title her Amma or Aman Lilith, due to the fact that Lilith, referring back to last week's podcast, is not a mother figure, and also those calling her Amma or Aman Lilith aren't properly placing the title. It should not read Amma Lilith. The proper addressing of the title should be Lilith Amma or Lilith Aman. If you're going to appropriate a culture or borrow from another spirituality, at least do it right. Learn the proper context of the terms and phrases you are cherry picking from. Although, I regress, the divine feminine force that is Lilith doesn't care. And the majority who think they are contacting or connecting with her directly are actually not, for the most part. Or majority, I should say. Firstly, and I know I mentioned this in an earlier episode, in reference to demons, for most trying to connect with and call to higher frequency or higher level, if you will, spirits, divine forces, or others, more often than not, it is not the god or demon, etc., you call to that is going to respond. In Lilith's case, it usually is one or more of the spirits she rules over. These are closer to our realm and our frequency, so you will be able to pick up on their energy much more easily, especially if you are a novice. You need to genuinely put in a lot of time, strong devotional acts, and especially when you're you direct your energy and focus towards Lilith, you will have spiritual tests thrown upon you, making you live through various trials in your mundane life, which you will have to overcome before Lilith herself will give you the time of day. Now, this being said, it is different and much easier to connect with Lilith if she is the one who initiates the contact, as opposed to you deciding you just want to work with her and you just call upon her at your will. As with the devil, Lilith will call to her own specific chosen when she feels like it, whether you are ready for her or not, or even if you want to be in the current or in the current of her company or not. Religious historical myth might have fabricated a story around Lilith. However, Lilith is simply a name bestowed upon her by human mind that they put upon a force that is far older than we, as with any other primordial force, because Lilith is primordial. This dark feminine force, or dark goddess, if you will, that we have named Lilith, actually stems from the infinite primordial chaos. Associations with Lilith: animals, snake or serpent, owl, felines, including wild cats, the jackal, hyena, bat, spider, vulture, and scorpion. Colors typically associated with Lilith are dark and intense reds, burgundy, dark purple, and the deepest of blacks. Crystals or stones connected with Lilith. The strongest would be garnet, and then there's also smoky quartz and obsidian. These are the three top stones of Lilith. However, there are more. You can find a full crystal listing for Lilith and other dark divine in my book, Gems of the Adversary, soon to be back on the market, revised and expanded. Okay, enough now for my self promo. Now, continuing on. Other associations with Lilith, with the elements, her elements would be water and air. Ritual tools: the mirror, especially the black mirror, the pendulum, the chalice or cup, the flogger, in some witchcraft traditions, it's a thing, and blood, especially your own. The tarot suit connected with Lilith are cups, and in the major arcana, Lilith could be represented by or associated with the high priestess or the devil, or both. Lilith's moon phase is the 3 consecutive nights of the dark moon, not the new moon, as the dark moon is wrongly marked on the calendar. Now, Lilith is also associated with the act of divination, the action of divination, that is, and other esotericism. Aside from mirrors and the pendulum, Lilith is strongly associated with palmistry, trance work, automatic writing, astral travel or spirit flight, if you will, lucid dreams, and prophetic dreams. When it comes to involving Lilith in magic, never call upon Lilith or involve anything Lilithian for love magic. As already mentioned in last week's episode, Lilith is the polar opposite of love. If approached to draw romantic love, Lilith might open the gate to grant you a romantic relationship. However, know that it is an illusion. It will be short-lived, and usually it will be destructive. In general, if addressing Lilith for love, she will bring you short-lived lust, often accompanied by abusive relationships. In general, Lilith is against the notion of family. Traditional marriage, that is, marriage of or any serious bonded romantic relationship between a man and a woman. However, Lilith can bestow the illusion of allure upon you and help you be seductive if your goal is to gain sexual attraction and to conquer desired lustful conquest, or use sexual attraction to gain something for yourself, such as a job, the favor of an authority, a, get someone to do something for you, etc. Glamour magic is definitely Lilith's realm. On the other hand, Lilith is all for gay and lesbian romantic relationships, serious or other. And from what I have noticed over the course of many years of research and knowing Lilith's energy, and knowing individuals who have worked extensively with Lilith, she especially favors gay men and trans women. Now, this being said, Lilith will positively work with both heterosexual, that's straight, males and females, but only if she chooses them, especially if she approaches the person first and not the other way around, and especially if they have been seriously wronged, betrayed, and lived through some test of trial. This holds particularly true in the case of straight males that Lilith will be attracted towards helping or working with. As for heterosexual, I should say, or straight females, it varies. In general, despite popular notion, Lilith doesn't accept many females in her court, but will send one or more of her feminine spirits that she rules over, such as Lilith too, in her place to work with a female practitioner. And it might be several years into a female practitioner's life that's a straight or heterosexual, I should say, female's practitioner's life before Lilith will bother to take notice of them, and only then will the practitioner authentically feel Lilith's actual presence. Before this happens, Lilith revealing herself to a straight female practitioner, the practitioner, after unknowingly working so long with a Lilithian spirit, will feel a shift and have the notion that Lilith has abandoned her, or that she is unable to feel Lilith's energy as strong or at all anymore. This happens just before Lilith steps in, replacing the Lilithian spirit in the person's life. I will share with you a little bit about my coming into Lilith's energy experience, my experience. In my case, based on my personal experience as a heterosexual slash straight female who has worked extensively with Lilith for several years, my connection with her spirit was not asked for, nor was I prepared for it. Lilith bluntly and suddenly came into my personal physical life and that of my witchcraft practice. She first randomly appeared to me in a dream as a snake woman. Her upper torso was a nude woman, and she had a serpent's body from the waist down. All else I remember is her smiling kind of sinisterly at me, baring viperous fangs, and then lashing out, biting me on the left shoulder. I remember waking up, still feeling her fangs sinking into me. After this, you can say I was, in quotations here, possessed by Lilith's spirit. It took about a year before I was able to handle the energy, learn from it, and utilize it properly to my advantage in a variety of ways. And this is like the energy that she injected into me from that dream. During the first 3 to 4 months after the dream, I was still shocked, you could say, and adjusting to Lilith's energy. I almost constantly felt her overpowering otherworldly presence around me. My psychic senses and mediumship abilities during this time were hypersensitive and highlighted beyond what I could handle or even believe that I could experience. At least the situation, I could say that at least the situation, it lasted only during those few short months. And before I was able, it calmed down or I adjusted to it, and then was able to properly work with it bit by bit. But like I said, it took really a full year before I got a grip on everything. I also, without me trying or wanting it, throughout this time, I attracted way too many strange men. Now, I attract strange guys sometimes, or dark energy guys, you could say, or just bizarre encounters that these guys come up to me. But during this time, it was really too much and a lot. Now, it was like much more than usual. And strangers, male strangers, would be going out of their way to help me with whatever. Now, I also have a plethora of uh, demonic energies and things of the paranormal. Or I should say, I also had a plethora of these demonic energies and things of the paranormal happening around and to me during this time period. Bizarre occurrences, more unusual than my usual, you could say. At that time, I was part of a coven, and my coven peers noticed a strange dark energy hovering over me and said they felt a dark, cold presence minutes before I would arrive at the Covenstead or even enter a room. A few establishments that I used to frequent, stores, goth clubs, wherever, places I used to hang out or go to regularly, staff members and acquaintances at those establishments also mentioned to me about feeling a dark, cold presence just before I would arrive at the venue or cafe or wherever it was. This phenomenon of the dark, cold energy stayed with me for several years. Actually, I never personally felt it, though those around me have and would let me know or eventually let me know about it. And I could say this explains why some people sometimes would just kind of flee in my presence. It's hard to explain, or I would maybe supposed to meet up with someone for a date or hanging out, and I arrive and they would kind of look at me bizarre and then make an excuse and have to leave. I think because he felt uncomfortable with that cold, dark presence around me, which makes a lot of sense now, but then it was very confusing. I had no idea what was going on. Now, Lilith likes to mess with those who don't belong in her court, such as those who try to social climb, gain a popularity status by using her image and name, and those who over sexualize and humanize her reputation, for example. Devotionals and Lilithian rituals are sacred acts. Those who utilize these to gain attention or sell services in Lilith's name will get burned, always, sooner or later. What I have noticed is that Lilith likes to make such people look like absolute fools without them ever realizing it, but everyone else notices it. They fall under her illusion as she makes them behave in silly manners, such as making them think they're being seductive when in reality they appear like clowns. She draws scandals and drama towards them with a decline in their business if it ever even flowed properly at all to begin with. Diligence, sincerity, and again, authenticity are key if you want to genuinely connect and work with Lilith. I planned on sharing more on Lilith. However, I feel that for this episode, combined with last week's episode, I shared plenty already. In the description box below, I shared some book titles related to Lilith in case you would like to learn more about and into her. And from both scholarly information, or scholarly information, I should say, as well as from experience through the eyes or the lens of a practitioners or practitioners who written the books. Now, until next time, my dears, I bid you darkest blessings always, with infernal love, under Lucifer's light.